These things are poisonous, right? All right. Gotta put these on. It's 5:30 and we have a vlog off here already. Start off this morning competition between Brad and me.
Follow Brad Domick. Follow Brad Domick.
He's got his camera over there. We'll see who can actually create a better vlog today. It wasn't even close. All right, so at the end of the workout right now, I'm here with Brad. As you can tell, he's got a smile on his face. I'm still breathing heavy, so which means I definitely lost. Brad's actually the guy who inspired me to actually do these vlogs. One day we were working out and I saw him with his camera, and he was telling me like, I should start vlogging. And
I was saying to you that I feel like what you do is very interesting to me because it's different from what I do. Just knowing the intricate details of what goes on in your life and in other people's lives.
Yeah.
So then I kind of thought, well, I might put the same stuff out there and just see what comes back.
One of the things that I was going to talk about today, what I call the imposter syndrome.
The imposter syndrome, aka who am I syndrome. Am I good enough syndrome?
I go into a room and you got high entrepreneurs and everybody's all successful, and you think like, who am I to be in this room, right?
I've been lucky enough in my life to be invited to be part of exclusive entrepreneur mastermind groups, and I get to hang out with some super elite people. When you get to hang out in an environment where the next person sitting beside you might have a $300 million company and the next person beside you has a $5 million company, you start to wonder going, what am I doing here?
And this is the thing with the vlogs. It's also felt that same way. When I started, I'm like, well, who's to say like my life is interesting? Your life is never interesting to you, but your life is actually interesting to everybody else.
You're living it day to day. It's your norm, but it's not mine. Your norm's not my norm, and I'm fascinated by what makes up people's day, and especially successful people. You're a very successful guy, and I want to know what makes you tick.
The imposter syndrome actually affected me a lot, not only in my confidence in myself, but also in how I interact with people. A constant struggle to suppress that voice in my head, and I started to realize that I must not be the only person who feels that way. What if someone thinks that I'm a fraud? I think that fears inside of us and prevents us from being the best version of ourselves, because instead of embracing who we are, what happens is when we see the person in the mirror, we think the worst version of ourselves rather than the best version of ourselves. I found this about 9 months ago when I was in Ireland. I didn't realize I was doing this. And so I began on a self journey I started asking questions. I started asking people around me of their opinions of me, what their first impressions are. And that has actually helped me really kind of formulate the true version of me. The version that I don't see in myself.
Like everything we do on our vlogs is that we're not trying to create something and manufacture something. You got to document your authentic life, which is true to you, and that's what's the key.
I think that's in part has really helped me recognize this concept called swimming in your own lane. I developed this thought process when I was watching the 2016 Summer Olympics. When I was watching the swimmer Katie Ledecky from the US swimming team, I saw her swim in the 400-meter freestyle race. Clearly, she was going to be a winner because she was so far ahead of her competition. She won that by beating the world record, and she beat her second closest competitor who won the silver medal, Jasmine Carlin from the UK, by more than 5 seconds. And I was watching that race, I was thinking that she was so far ahead in the middle of the race. The thing I was thinking was not so much about what she was thinking. What I was thinking about was actually what was the second place thinking about. What was Jasmine Carlin thinking about? At that point, Katie was so far ahead, there was no chance of even catching up. Would she be thinking about trying to keep pace with Katie, or would she be focusing on her own lane? My thought process was Jasmine would be focusing on her lane. She would be focusing on what she is going to be doing in her own race, not worrying about what Katie's doing or the other competitors. Though she was second to Katie and she won the silver medalist in the 2016 Olympics, she actually had her personal best in that race. I think the key here is that when you actually get to focus on your own lane, when you get to focus on your story, your experience, your life, rather than chasing other people's dreams, it's worth exploring who we can actually be if we didn't have that voice inside of our head. That voice, I don't think ever leaves. What if we're able to lower that voice? What if you're not an imposter? What if you deserve all the success you have actually accumulated? And what if the best version of yourself is still yet to come?
Take a look at this. It's called a skink. You can tell why they call them elephant ears. These elephant palms. Look at the size of this thing. Nothing like using pink gloves. These are elephant palms. When you take them off, when they get too big or they're dying, when you cut them off, the juices, I guess, or do you call them juices?
The juice in it. Don't drink it.
The stuff that comes out of it actually is quite toxic and can actually cause a lot of burning sensations on the skin. I'm trying to think, who puts and plants toxic plants into a garden? They do look pretty cool though. Just to be very clear, I'm not a gardener, so I have no idea. So maybe someone will actually comment below this video and actually tell us exactly what these leaves are. They look like elephant ears, so that's why we're gonna call them elephant ears.